Hi there, Guy from Bugs and Stuff and GiantSpiders.com here. So we're here in the UK and this time we're searching for a spider that has been on my British bucket list for many years. This time the beautiful Raft spider, Dolomedes fimbriatus. First off, let's take a look at this species and their UK distribution using the brilliant British Arachnological Society Spider Recording Scheme website. As we can see, Dolomedes fimbriatus is classed as widespread on southern heathlands, but very scattered elsewhere in Britain, up to Scotland. It is, however, widespread in northwestern and central Europe. In terms of habitat, the species is found on wet heathland, wet woodland and bogs. The sphagnum moss pools is the best place to find the juveniles and adults, but juveniles and younger specimens may be found in much drier habitats away from the bogs. On the way to their preferred habitat, we visited this beautiful natural tarn and were lucky enough to film these mating dragonflies laying their eggs. These medium-sized dragonflies are the common darter, and they're a common sight. The males are a bright red colour while the females are brown. We also spotted the much larger emperor dragonfly here, also laying her eggs, but in a very different way. Azure damselflies here too, basking in the sun. Another common sight during the summer here in the UK are these cinnabar moth caterpillars feeding on ragwort. The bright colour indicates that they may be poisonous to predators, and this also extends to the adult moth, which are just as brightly coloured and day flying. Lots of peacock butterfly caterpillars can be seen at this time of year too. It's always a pleasure to see one of the most beautiful species of dung beetle found here in the UK, the door beetle. These beetles normally frequent grazing pastures where they dig out a nesting tunnel under suitable dung and line their nest with dung for the larvae to feed on. They're a large beetle, up to 26mm in length, and a wonderfully metallic colour, the legs and the underside in particular having a really nice bluish tinge. So back to our target spider then. Perfect habitat here. These bogs, which have formed over thousands of years because of the very high rainfall of the area, have laid down deep peat deposits below the extensive sphagnum mosses on the bog surface. Searching consisted of scanning the bog weeds. You have to be relatively quiet during searching, as any vibration from the water's edge can alert the spider to your presence, and they would quickly disappear under the water and hide amongst the vegetation. They are capable of submerging themselves for several minutes as a layer of oxygen is trapped against the spider's body, allowing it to breathe underwater for some time. Perfect habitat here despite the recent hot weather and dry spell. These habitats are great at retaining moisture. Thankfully, it didn't take us long to find a specimen close to the edge and exhibiting its natural behaviour. Like many other species of the genus Dolomedes, the raft spider typically hunts on the surface of the water with its front legs outstretched and relies on aquatic vibrations to detect prey. Juveniles are thought mainly to hunt in terrestrial vegetation, and their diet consists largely of freshwater invertebrates such as water beetles, pond skaters and dragonfly larvae, but they occasionally feed on small vertebrates too, such as stickerbacks and small frogs. We safely secured the spider without harm, and here you can see it demonstrating nicely its ability to sit and float on the water surface, which gives Dolomedes their common name of raft spider. They do spin silk, but don't build a web to capture prey, instead using the surface tension as a way of detecting vibrations on the water's surface, usually caused by struggling insects that fall into the water. Time to get some photographs and some video of this gorgeous spider. Now, although this is a decent size for a UK spider, they do in fact get a lot bigger than this. I'd say this one was around 30mm in leg span, but they can reach up to 70mm, so quite a bit larger. This makes them one of the UK's largest spiders. As you can see, they're not defensive and can be handled easily, but they can move fast when they want to. Their venom, like most UK spiders, is not considered harmful to humans. Although Dolomedes fimbriatus is fairly widespread across the UK, they're certainly not common, and their main threats are the destruction of their heathland for housing and agriculture and the drainage of wetlands. I should point out that the closely related and the only other Dolomedes species in the UK, the fen raft spider, Dolomedes plantorius, is found in a similar habitat, is listed critically endangered, and permits are required to interact with it in any way, so make sure you know the species you're dealing with. It's a shame we didn't find a larger female, but nevertheless I think you'll agree that it's definitely one handsome spider. As they can take 2 years to mature, this juvenile will overwinter and mature next year to hopefully go on to produce many more spiderlings during the summer. Photos done, all that remains is to return the spider to the pond where we found it. So there you have it, another British spider off the bucket list, Dolomedes fimbriatus, or the UK Raft spider.